And good evening and welcome to this edition of Train Aficionado Live. I'm Jonathan Higgins. Tonight we're talking about some of the photos I've taken throughout the summer in and around Cincinnati. So it's kind of a different, more laid back type of show. You know, we're coming off the Labor Day weekend and we are getting back into the swing of things as, you know, summer tapers off and fall approaches. So we have, you know, a great show tonight to be able to talk about some of the photos that I've taken. If you got show suggestions for the Train Aficionado show, let me know. I would love to see and hear about shows that you guys would love for us to cover. So we are going to talk about some of the photos I've taken. I just want to mention I'm a member of the Cincinnati Railroad Club, and last week we actually lost one of our members, Dale Brown, and I just wanted to, you know, say I'm not too sure if he's ever watched the show but my thoughts and prayers go out to his family. He was 71, and I still think, you know, unfortunately it's too young, you know, to leave this earth, and but I certainly do. I'm thankful to, you know, being able to meet him. He actually attended many of my scanner classes. You know, I was able to have lots of conversations with him, and I just feel very bad, you know, that they had to go so soon. You know, I've been a member of the Railroad Club for almost 2 years, so, you know, I mean, certainly he was one of the members that was welcoming to me and always said hello and had a great conversation with. Anyways, let's start off tonight's show. We'll cover a couple of slides, and tonight's topic of discussion, we're going to take a look at some of my photos that I've taken throughout Cincinnati, Ohio. As many of you know that have been following the show for many years, I'm new to the Cincinnati area. I've been here for about 2 years, and I'm still exploring and trying to find rail fanning spots, and here are some of the photos I've taken. So let's take a look at some of the upcoming slides here. So we've got lots of great shows. We've been doing this since 1999. Since 2019. Matter of fact, it was September when the show launched in 2019. So it's 2 years. Actually, no, 3 years, right? We're entering into our third year. Am I not doing math right now? No, we're in the fourth season. Yeah, so I don't know, it's been a while. Let me just put it that way. Anyways, you know, I work all day and then I do the show, so, you know, you're getting the tired me sometimes. So the next show that's coming up is Wednesday, September the 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're brand new to rail fanning, you want to definitely check out our video for rail fanning for beginners. You can definitely learn a lot if you're entering into this hobby. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Train Aficionado. So across the social media, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching this video for the first time. Help support the Train Aficionado YouTube channel. We got some really cool swag. We got t-shirts, hats, a travel mug. We've got jackets now, hoodies, all types of cool stuff. So help promote the social media. Not the social media. God, I can't talk. The store by shopping us. You know, it helps, you know, to pay for the streaming service that we use and the website and what have you. All right. So let's take a look at some of the photos I've taken in and around Cincinnati, Ohio. This is certainly a bustling area. We have, you know, a short line that runs through here, which is the I&O, which is the Cincinnati and Ohio, which is a part of what I call the candy corn, the Genesee, Wyoming short lines. We also have CSX and Norfolk Southern that travel through here. And of course, we have an Amtrak train that travels through in the middle of the night But every now and then, that train shows up during the day when it's running extremely late. So let's take a look at some photos. So one of my favorite places is Hamilton, Ohio. And I've written a couple of blog entries about it because a lot of railroad lines meet in Hamilton, Ohio. So this was an interesting shot. It was a work train sitting on one of the tracks, and that's looking at the train heading north. And then there was a southbound train parked on the line, as you can see there. So I ended up taking this photo in my truck, and then I wanted to get closer to be able to get a photograph of the work train and, of course, the train that was parked at the signal. So I get up to the McDonald's, which is right where these trains were, stopped. It's called Butler Junction in Hamilton, Ohio. So I drive my truck up and I see a dog stuck on the railroad tracks. It had the leash and a collar on. So what ended up happening, it ran away. It had the leash on him, and it got stuck underneath the railroad tracks. So the dog was literally stuck there. So I hopped out of my truck immediately, and I saw the dog there, and I tried to wave the dog over, try to get it to come over, but then I realized it was, the leash was stuck underneath the rail. So the work crew noticed what was going on. One guy hopped out of a maintenance away truck. The other work crew guy came out. One of the CSX workers actually was able to get the dog, sat on the ground with the dog for a good 15-20 minutes, trying to get the dog to calm down. Of course, it was in the middle of the summer. It's hot. It was overheated, nervous, scared. So the maintenance away guy said, I gotta get going. Is there anything that you can do? Because I was there. And I said, well, let's put the dog in my truck, and then I'll bring it over to the dog shelter in Hamilton. I didn't know where it was. Of course, I Railfan in the town, but I'm familiar with the tracks and certain food places because, as a Railfan, you like to eat. So, of course, I wasn't familiar where the animal shelter was. So I ended up going over to the animal shelter. And thankfully, it was open on a Saturday. Cute little dog. Of course, I wasn't able to take another dog at the house. So I ended up dropping the dog off. I had a hard time getting it out of the truck after. Because it was in the air-conditioned truck. It got to cool down. It got comfortable. Was sitting in the back seat. I had a hard time getting the dog out of the truck. So I ended up... giving my information, and I hope that, that the dog finds a home. It was a cute little dog, so I imagine that the owner, went there and got the dog because I never seen the dog on the website. So I'm guessing the owner probably went to the animal shelter first and was able to find their dog. It looks like they may have been on a walk and it got away because it had the leash on. So anyway, I didn't get any more photos this day. This was on a Saturday. I was taking photos all morning long. I said, all right, that's the end of that. So, and this is the shot I got of the maintenance away crew and the train stopped. And originally I was going to get closer shots. But, rescuing the dog and helping the dog. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time, somebody would say. Another photo from Hamilton. Now, this is on the Indianapolis CSX subdivision. Now, the thing about this bridge, there's only like 2 trains that go over each day on this bridge. So it's tricky to be able to get a train coming over. So this was on a Sunday morning, and I was hanging out in Hamilton. I was killing some time. And all of a sudden, I heard the scanner say something about, a train leaving out of McGonigal. So I heard that. Then I heard the defect detector that's on this line that's in Hamilton. And I waited it out and waited it out. And sure enough, train came rolling over the bridge. So I was able to get this shot. And this was just literally, as a rail fan that takes photographs, being at the right place at the right time, having a scanner to be able to listen, and just knowing the area, being able to know where the detector is, knowing somewhere where the mile posts are and the popular locations they talk about on the radio. Just knowing all that, I was able to get a photo of the train coming over the bridge. Here's some other photos that are in Hamilton. So the great thing about Hamilton, it is a city, and it's got a lot of industrial buildings and industrial businesses as well along the tracks. So you can get some really cool shots. You can see here, I got an industrial background here. We've got a train that stopped at the signal, which is this Norfolk Southern train, and then I've got another train passing, which was really neat. So I really staged this shot. I was able to get of course, the Norfolk Southern waiting, and then this other train passing. Now in Hamilton, the great thing about it is you're able to get Norfolk Southern and CSX. So you're able to get both Class 1 railroads. And I can't remember the train that was passing. I'm almost pretty certain it was a CSX train, but I may have another photograph of it. I think in the slide deck, we'll take a look. And sure enough, look at this. Son of a gun. I got a photograph of the passing. So you can see the CSX on the track that's further away, and then the Norfolk Southern right there. So they're almost nose to nose. I do have a shot that's nose to nose, but I kind of like this shot of the CSX passing. And this is a great spot. I'm basically standing on a sidewalk taking a photograph of these two trains. Great spot. I really loved being able to get this. I mean, this was I think this may have been on the same Sunday morning. I mean, there was tons of activity. So I was able to get, a lot of trains, going through here, and then of course going on that other line. So it was a lot of great activity. Great shot. I was able to frame it with an industrial background there. You even got a sad traffic cone on the ground, as you can see there. You see it, like it looks like it's squashed and defeated. But certainly a really cool shot, and yet again in Hamilton. So if you ever come up to Ohio and you're in the Cincinnati area, there's a blog entry about Hamilton. And I've written a couple of blog entries about it. Definitely check it out, and you can learn some more there. Another favorite spot of mine, and this is Glendale, Ohio. And this is me getting the Cardinal service heading to Chicago. So I was able to get the Cardinal train here during the daytime. It rolls through here at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the night. And you know when it's running late? Usually Monday through Friday during the day when I'm working. This was running late on a Saturday morning. I'm like, son of a gun. I'm going to get up early and take a photo of it. So this was the train rolling through probably right around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was able to get it, traveling northbound through Glendale during the daytime. And of course, anytime the Cardinal service is running during the daylight hours, you're going to have a lot of rail fans out there taking photos. Because, it's rare to be able to get it during the daytime. As of lately, I haven't seen it running as late as it was two times it was running late back to back. Actually, I think it was maybe 3 times. It was running, late heading southbound, then heading northbound, and then heading southbound again. I was able to get it one of the times. I got up out of bed early in the morning. The reason why, I went to bed late the night before on Friday night, and I saw the chatter of, it may be 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning when it's rolling through Hamilton and, Cincinnati and all this area. And I'm thinking, all right, I can get up and be up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and get a photo of this. So I ended up grabbing a shot of it, passing milepost 15, and I've also written, which you can see the brick building there, that's the Glendale Depot. that's in the background there over to the right of the train. And I was able to get that photo of the train passing, a depot that once had passenger service, no longer has passenger service anymore. It's a museum now, which is really neat. But yeah, Glendale's a really cool spot. Lots of places to take photographs. There's a parking lot right next to the tracks, so you can park your car, get out, take photos. The downtown area is right in the center of it, so there's plenty of sidewalks, plenty of angles, plenty of places to sit, some park benches, and so forth. Here's a location in Cincinnati that I started to Railfan. This is the Indiana sub. And this runs along Route 50, along the Ohio River. Now, of course, I&O travels on this line, which they have a dedicated track. You can see the I&O, which is the good old candy corn, which is the Genesee, Wyoming. So they had a latch up here of 3 locomotives and then some cars coming out of Cincinnati, the Queensgate Yard. So they picked up a whole train set heading out into Indiana. So the track that's over to the right in that photo is the CSX line. So CSX runs parallel to the I&O. So this runs right along Interstate 50, which is a great location to chase some trains because you've got the railroad line running parallel to the route. And the track speed is a lot slower than the road speed. So you're kind of able to get ahead of it. Use some caution, make sure you don't speed. You don't want to get a ticket. And there's several different spots along Route 50 you can take photos. There's a couple of parks that are along there, so I was able to get some locations to be able to do a good chase. I've done that a couple times on the weekend in the morning, and I've had pretty good luck. I've gotten a CSX train, I've gotten the I&O. Sometimes I'll get both. There's a little story that I was out one Saturday or Sunday, out railfanning, parked the car somewhere, got on the sunny side of the train, and we got blocked by the train. The car was on one side, the train was on the other, and the train was stopped. And there was no way to get to the car. So we had to wait until the train cleared in order to get across the street. So we were at a street, the car was on the other side, the train was on the other, and where the train stopped was right dead in the middle. We would have had to walk way around the train, and there wasn't an easy way to do it. And then you had the river and a bridge. So, literally was blocked. So that was a funny thing, and I figured, well, it could be a good 20 minutes or so before the train moved. Thankfully, it was blocking intersections, so of course the locals frown upon that, so they're not going to keep the intersections blocked for quite a while. But this is a real cool spot. So if you're looking at a map of Cincinnati, look towards the Ohio River, you will see this line coming out of the Queensgate Yard and then heading west towards Indiana. And that is a great spot to be able to get some trains. It's not as frequent, the line, so there's not as busy, but when you're able to grab some shots, there's some cool shots that can happen there. Wintonton is another cool spot. And this is a spot where it's a public road, but it looks like you're trespassing. So you have to be super cautious when you're there. Make sure you stay away from the tracks. And you can see the old signal bridge there with the old school signals up on the top. And I can get some really cool shots here. I've actually done a rail fanning outing here with the club, and gotten this shot. This was a train that was heading more than likely north towards Hamilton, up the Cincinnati sub, heading towards heading north, probably heading towards Indiana, making its way that route to up north. It's a very cool spot. A lot of locals know where it is. Of course, I'm working on a rail fanning guide. I'm going to give a little bit more detail of these rail fanning spots for the Cincinnati area, but a cool shot here. We go back to Hamilton. This is, and I got to look it up. Sorry, I'm drawing Norfolk Southern. And this is, I don't want to missay it. So this is one of the heritage units. This is the interstate. I almost made a mistake, and I was pretty sure it's interstate, but of course I can't see the side of it. And this is the interstate heritage unit. This is the first heritage unit that I got in Ohio. Now, it was quite a while. I was on a roll, down in North Carolina, getting some heritage units. And, of course, I got a ton of heritage units in Altoona. This was the first heritage unit that I got in Ohio. Yes, the cream skull, and it's got that colors, and it's super great to be able to see a heritage unit. And of course CSX now has heritage units as well. So far I haven't caught a single one of their brand new painted heritage units, so hopefully I'll be able to get some of those during the fall. But this one here was waiting on a signal just outside the milepost 27.7, which is a detector right there. And this is heading northbound on the line. This is the section where CSX and Norfolk Southern share the right-of-way. And this is by the water treatment facility for Hamilton. So this is on the outskirts of Hamilton in the northern part. So I was able to get out of the car, take a photograph of this, and this heritage unit was literally sitting there, and I took so many photos of it. This photograph, matter of fact, it is moving. So you can see the ditch lights on, the headlights on. It was moving. So the great thing about it, I was able to get a photograph of it moving, but it was sitting there for a while, sitting there for a signal, and I took so many photos, as many photos as I could, because it was sitting there. Let's continue taking a look at some more photos. Here's another photo, same location, but a train heading southbound, and you can see the detector. You can see the dragging equipment flaps that are right by the railroad tracks. You can definitely see it on the track that's furthest away. And this was a train that was heading southbound, probably was on the same day. And you can see a CN unit right behind the CSX leading locomotive. So, of course, while I was waiting for that train to move, of course, I probably ended up getting a southbound, making its way. Yet again, Hamilton's such a hub of busy activity. This is another cool shot that I got. Pretty much a wooded area, there's not a lot going on in the background, but certainly a good spot, good lighting to be able to get this southbound. Wintonton, again, this is a train that's coming from the north, heading south. This is heading into the Queens Gate Yard. So we're able to see this train making its way here. Of course, at this spot, we can get Norfolk Southern, we can get CSX, and we can get the I&O as well. So here we've got a photograph of the CSX making its way through, heading underneath the signal bridge on track 1. You can see, I've zoomed in further enough, you can see that the train is on track 1, and then the track that's closest to us is track 2. So I really like this spot. I'm way far away from the tracks, on the public access road, taking photographs of this train. You know, the zoom in lens certainly is a huge help for being able to photograph this train heading over to the bridge. New Miami. Now this is just north of Cincinnati. And this was a train waiting on a signal, was on a curve. And of course I took advantage of this. I took as many photos as possible. I did take a wider shot so you can kind of see this in the field by the road, but I ended up choosing for the slide deck tonight the tighter shot. So we've got the southbound Norfolk Southern train with some grain hoppers, closed hoppers, you know, heading southbound. Certainly a cool shot. New Miami, certainly there's a couple different places to take photographs. There is a town, I can't remember, that's just north of here. There's a lot of farmland, and you can get some really cool shots with a wide angle lens, you know, of the train going through the farm fields, which is really neat. I've also caught a heritage unit over there. I can't remember if it was the New York Central, maybe. It was parked on a siding, and of course, you know, I met a couple of rail fans. We talked it up for a bit, but yeah, I mean, this is certainly a great place, you know, for rail fanning in southwest Ohio. Back to Hamilton again. This is by Butler Junction. No real story with this train. I was able to, you know, I take tons of photos in Hamilton. So this is just before the interlocking. So this train is actually going to run southbound down the CSX line and then into Queensgate. You can see the switch there. If the switch was moved over so it's switching tracks, more than likely it would go down the Newcastle division, which it would also take it to the Queensgate yard. So there's two tracks heading north out of Queensgate, and that's owned by CSX. And then there's the Newcastle, which is owned by Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern and CSX will go down that track heading southbound into Queensgate. So they both have track rights on each other's roads. So it's a lot of fun to be able to see, you know, the two competing class ones sharing the same area. You know, same track, I should say. So cool photo of Hamilton. As you can see here, this section of track is owned by CSX. You can see a little bit of the Verizon satellite dish, and typically, though, you know, when you see those on their structures along the track, that's how the communication for the signaling system and all that goes up to satellite. That's usually one of the tattletales that tells you that it's a CSX line versus a Norfolk Southern. McGonigal. So I missed this train heading over the bridge. So this was a train that we actually chased from Hamilton. Of course, you know, when we got up to the bridge where I wanted to get a shot, you know, it was already over the bridge. So then I'm like, you know, how did we get to McGonigal? So we heard on the scanner that it was going to be stopped at a signal at McGonigal. So we ended up driving up to McGonigal, and sure enough, it was sitting there, and it was waiting on a southbound. So this train here is single line, so it's got sidings. So unfortunately, there was a train heading southeast on this line, gonna get back on the main line in Hamilton. So there was a train heading, so this was waiting for it. So this train was gonna head out west. So I was standing there for a while, all of a sudden, the engineer got off the train. And he came over and talked to me. He said, "Hey, yeah, you out here taking photos?" I said, "Yep, yeah, I'm taking photos." And he was talking to me about, "Oh yeah, I know this guy that Railfan's down in Hamilton and so forth." And he was talking to me. I gave him one of my business cards. I said, "Yeah, I'll end up posting these photos at some point on my social media, and of course, using it in this broadcast." So him and I were talking for a bit. And then, of course, I had my radio with me, and he said, "Oh, I just heard the train we're waiting on. I better get back up in the cab and locomotive." So he got back into the cab of the locomotive, and sure enough, probably about 5 minutes later, we saw the train they were waiting on. So that train passed, on the track that's closest to us, or closest, not closest, but on the left of your screen. And basically it ended up, passing, and then the sun was starting to set, and I actually got to see this train travel west, as the sun was setting, which was really cool. So I was really excited to be able to see this, the train stopped at the signal and then get photographs of it traveling westbound. I don't think I ended up pulling one of those photos. Let me just take a look. I think this might be the last one. And that is indeed the last one. So, this evening I didn't mean to run the intro. Hold on one second. My camera went blurry. So, this is one of the shows I kind of wanted to highlight some of the photos I've taken. A lot of times I'll post them on social media, and I'll just post the location and maybe a general background. What I tried to give tonight is a little bit of a story behind each one of the photos, where I photographed it, what was happening on that particular day. If you do like this type of show, I'll do this every so often where we kind of, tell a story about the photo. I mean, you see the photos that I post on social media. Usually it's a short little blurb, but you're not hearing the full story. Like that one that I helped rescue a dog that was stuck on the railroad tracks, or being able to chase a train, or having the being at the right place in the right time, being able to get a photo of a train going over a bridge that sees one or two trains a day. It's rare. I mean, you've got to be in the right place in the right time. Anybody that's entering into this hobby will compare it very much like fishing. You're waiting and waiting for that fish to get on the line and bite the bait. So you spend hours and hours waiting. With our hobby, of course, you could spend hours waiting trackside for a particular train. I'll tell you a quick story. I don't have the photograph of it during this slide deck, but I was out in Pennsylvania at the Horseshoe Curve, and I caught my first heritage unit. I waited probably about 4 to 5 hours for it to come through. I found a spot where the lighting was perfect, and I said, I'm not moving from the spot. I'm afraid I'm going to start jockeying to the other spots, and what it's going to happen is it's going to be two ships passing in the night. I'm going to head this direction, the train's going to pass me, I'm not going to know, and that's going to be the end of it. So when you're out there rail fanning, definitely download the Heritage app. Make sure you do that, and whenever you see a Heritage unit, report it, so other rail fans can capture that heritage unit just like you. The other thing that I recommend for rail fans, if you're on social media such as Facebook, join some of the groups that are out there. And of course, if you can, certainly if people are tracking a heritage unit or a special train on there, post updates on there. Because you know what? A lot of times I've used either the app or I've used Facebook to be able to track these trains, and I'm very thankful for those rail fans that have posted and did updates, to where it is. That allows me to capture it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pay the favor back, and I will post its current location. So a rail fan down the line, they could be 10 miles, 30, 100 miles away. They know that train is on its way. So certainly we have the ability to help other rail fans. So certainly, If you're on social media, you get a smartphone, download the Heritage Unit app, become a member of that. It's free. And then the other thing I can't say enough about is, Facebook. Join some of those groups that are out there. Help share the knowledge that you have. Give the heads up on there as well. I mean, the thing is we're a tight niche community. We can certainly help each other out along the way. Just going to do a couple of slides, and then I'll answer any questions that you may have about tonight's presentation, and then we'll wrap it up for this evening. But let me go through a couple of slides right now. So here's what we talked about. Jonathan's Railfan photos in and around Cincinnati. This is the summer of 2023 edition, and just a few of the photos that I've taken. I may do this every so often. I found it was kind of fun and interesting to do, and maybe we'll do it again if you guys like it. So Train Aficionado Live will be back again for another show in September. That's Wednesday, September the 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. We've got tons of videos on the channel. You may want to check out Railfanning for Beginners if you're new to this hobby. You can follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Since you're watching the show right now, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and do the bell for notifications when we add a new video. Make sure you support the channel as well by shopping our store. You can do that at trainaficionado.com. You can check out all the swag we have, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, and so much more. We've got it all on trainaficionado.com, and it's not also just our store. It is our blog as well. So I've got some trackside guides. I have the ultimate trackside guide for Altoona, and then I'm working on a trackside guide for Cincinnati, Ohio as well. So definitely check that out. Train Aficionado. We hope to make the website a great resource for rail fans. And don't forget to share our video to your friends and family as well. So make sure you share this video to your friends and family. Let them know that we're here. We'd love to grow this audience. With more people watching, that means more interaction from you guys, and maybe you guys can become friends with other watchers. So definitely do that as well. So tonight's show was some of my photos. I'm hoping that many of you enjoyed it. I thank you so much to everyone that's joined tonight. I've seen all the check-ins. A lot of people recommending some really great places to go rail fanning. I'm hoping to do some traveling. I need to travel more west. For the most part, those of you who've been following the blog for the last 10 years, I launched it in 2013. So this is 10 years of the blog. I've covered a lot of the Northeast, rail fanning up in Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. I've rail fanned along the Hudson line, along the Hudson River. I've also rail fanned a lot in Altoona, Pennsylvania, North and South Carolina, and now in the Cincinnati area, and then trying to branch off to some stuff in Indiana, and then Kentucky, and then of course Northern Ohio. So hopefully I'll be able to make some more trips this fall before the cool weather settles in. But definitely, let me know some places. I love to read your comments, suggestions, where I should rail fan next, or some cool places I would love to check, you would love for me to check out. Greatly appreciate everybody watching tonight. We hope that you have a great evening. Get out there and rail fan. Be safe, be smart, and have a lot of fun. For me tonight, I'm Jonathan Higgins, live from our Cincinnati studios. Have a great night. We'll catch you again next week for the Scanner Guys, and then back on the 20th for Train Aficionado Live. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.